Oh, yeah.
Poet you may never have heard of, sent me tonight. She's 90 in a few days' time, and she wanted me to thank Huff because at the age of 70, he was the one who introduced her to her own poetry. She never thought she was a poet. Huff told her she was, and she came to believe him. So she wrote books and a memoir, Things I Cannot Tell My Children, in 2 versions. One she can tell the children and the truth. She formed a women's poetry group called Ripe and Ready, and the condition was that all the members had to be over 70 and female, and they performed at Hyde Park Theatre and at many other venues. When I arrived in this town, Huff was already old and a legend, so I was never part of his inner circle or even his friendship circle, but I was more like a witness to the uniqueness of him and the fact that he was open, communicative, I can put narrative in a Bukowski sense, one-dimensional in the sense that there was little metaphor in him, but if you rattled it, you get a story out of it. And you could come back to the parables he told, because there was a lot of biblical allusions. He was in love with the illusion of the Virgin Mary in his art. He just kept replicating that. And he's understanding that in this desert you have to have a circle, and you have to have a water hole, and you have to have a conversation. It's still square one, blank page, empty stage. It's still a fact that you have to do it in your home if there's no places like Malvern Books to celebrate the fact. And the fact that every person here is a witness, those who knew him are getting older, and when they go, what my friend wants to know is where is she going to send her books, because she's going to die, and all her books are inscribed by him to her, as a lot of yours are.
Yeah.
So she wants them to be in the hands of people who will curate them, and there's no one really who has got time, effort, energy, or resources to do that. So one of my favourite poems was Listen to Your Life. You probably all know it already, and a 30-second version of it. I went looking for it in the Austin History Centre, and then I discovered to my chagrin that you must not send your books to the Austin History Centre, because I know he wrote over 43 books. They had 19 of Albert's books. 19. So if that's the central repository of Austin writers, it's certainly inadequate. And ACC is doing a necessary job to do it. But the person, Mark, I think it was you who said that he is part of the landscape that no longer exists. Mm-hmm. Hyde Park has changed. I think his photograph is down now. They used to have his poetry there, and that's gone. The bench is still there. The little pocket park is now there. But the type of thinking, because he documented the people who are invisible, the shadow people. And they're still here. But there is no documenter. There's no one to say, Wanda, you are important as you are. You may have no kidneys, but you're a star. There's no one to say that. And there's not enough articulators or truth tellers to actually have the time to volunteer at the state hospital, as you did. These are worthy and necessary community things to do, and there is no one doing them anymore. So we see him as an historical marker rather than as a living pulse. Your students relate to him, but the milieu he came from, of necessary communication of the poetic as a community device, is still lacking largely, except where you bring it in places like this. But if I could give a 10-second mutilation of my favourite Huff poem, which I couldn't find at the Austin History Centre. It's important when you wake up in the morning not to rush, to wait, because your life will come along. If you rush too fast, you may miss it. It might be someone else's life you're living.